Welcome back to the channel. Thank y'all for hanging with me on this Thursday. So this is the time of year where the fish are really going to start getting off the offshore spots and start moving back shallow. You know, for the last month, if your lakes have any type of offshore structure where the bass can really get on them and you can fish them effectively, that's where most of the bass are heading in the post spawn. Now that they've been out there for a little bit, they're going to start moving back shallow, and the shallow bite isn't going to be the best player on your lake. This isn't where the tournaments are going to be won, but if you don't want to go out there and idle around for 3 hours to just find one school, shallow is going to be a really good way to mix in a couple productive type spots during your day. So what I will say, when I am fishing shallow this time of year, I really like a finesse jig, and I like to do some off the wall techniques like skip a frog underneath docks and just do some things that the fish don't see a whole lot. Now, shade is going to be my favorite place to fish in the shallow. Yeah. Well, green pumpkin and orange finesse jig, dirty jigs. That's a nice bass right there. Nice June bass, healthy fish. They don't all live deep. Some do live shallow, so we're gonna get this one back. 4 months. I think most of the grass where I live, it's still the deeper grass is what's productive. The shallower grass just is not it yet. You really need a lot of shade. You know, this time of year, the bass's metabolism is still sped up, so they still have to eat a lot. There's just not a whole lot of oxygen in that shallow water, so you have to find dark water, places where sun isn't beating on it all day. Now, the reason I like the finesse jig is because they've seen a lot of full-size jigs. I don't think I can get more than a few bites shallow, you know, so I'm gonna go and do something that the fish just haven't seen a whole lot. They've seen full-size jigs, they've seen Texas rigs, so a little finesse jig. Now, I live on a lake where we don't have a whole lot of docks. So if you have a ton of docks on your lake, you can just go run one, you know, pattern all day and just go fish every dock on the lake. Here, once you fish 4 or 5 docks, that's it. And you got to go run a mile to get to some more docks. So it's not a great dock lake because we don't have a whole lot of them. So I basically treat the docks the same way I'm going to treat the offshore ledge spots. I'm going to get around the dock and I'm going to pick it apart, and I'm really going to fish it hard. So I'm going to sit there on one part of that dock, shake my jig, and then make another cast to the next pillar. Because if I spend all my time running to new sets of docks, it's not going to be a productive pattern. You really have to be thorough. And I think a finesse jig with a trailer that has a ton of action is very important. So this is a 7/16 ounce jig. I would like to go a little heavier, but we have too much junk on the bottom of our lake, so there's really no option as far as going heavier. I'll just be fighting all that dead sediment on the bottom of the lake. So I'm going to throw this 7/16 in there, and this is a Dirty Jigs Luke Clausen finesse jig. I really like this jig because it's kind of got a ball head, and then it's a hybrid mix to like an arky head. So the way the line tie kind of sets up, it's like a arky head or your standard flipping jig, but it also is still kind of ballish, less skirt material. But I like this trailer. So this is an old school Dion's Classic made by Gambler. It's basically just a twin tail grub. And since it has so much action, while I'm sitting that bait on a dock post, I can just sit there and shake it. So when I'm thinking of ledge fishing, I want a bait that has a good amount of action that I can just sit there, keep it in one spot. I don't want to bring it back to the boat. I want it to just stay there and I can just shake it. And that's what I'm doing around these docks. Little green pumpkin orange jig. These fish are moving back shallow. They need shade. They're just hard to catch. So there are fish on all these docks, or at least all stretches of docks. One of them is going to have some fish on it. You just have to be very thorough. So when I think of like skipping docks with a super chunk or a big salty chunk, that's great when I'm covering a bunch of water. That's great when I have endless amounts of bushes and I'm putting the trolling motor on 40% and I'm just burning on the bank, pitching it as many places as I can. That's great for that because, you know, when that bait's moving fast, that trailer's moving fast enough. But when I'm just sitting there and I'm not moving it, you know, the boat's staying in one place and I just continuously making casts and just letting it sit, and I'm kind of stroking the jig. I'm working a lot on a slack line so it doesn't come back to the boat, just stays right there. Eventually those fish are going to swim over and bite. So that's big this time of year, especially if you don't have a whole lot of docks on your lake, but you want to mix that into your summer pattern. Try that. Good luck to you, and I'll see you on the water.